Hey everyone, it's Jen, and tonight I am preparing for later on this weekend. The full moon is coming up. This year, the full buck moon is going to be a super moon. That means that the moon is going to be at one of the four times of the year that's going to be closest to the earth. And so I thought it would be a good time to do some readings. So what I'm going to do is show you the spread and how it's done rather than do a reading for you, if that makes sense. Okay. So for those of you who are reading tarot, want to know how to do this, you can by all means do it. If time permits, I will go live on the eve of the full moon and actually do a full moon reading. But what I've done is set up a small altar here. And remember, whenever you're doing your spiritual practice, it's yours. Don't worry about being this way or that way. It must be perfect. Just make it your altar. Right now, what I have are the things that make me happy and the things that are going to bring me into that place where I can be ready to really be receptive to what spirit is trying to convey to me. I look at all the things on the altar. I have my crystals. I have my sound bowl. I have my pentagram. And if it looks to you like it's upside down or a little crooked, remember that it is facing north. And so that point is facing east. Okay. And I'm over here sitting in the west, if that makes sense. For those of you who are like, it's crooked. Okay. No, it's not crooked. It's aligned to the directions. Maybe it's just a little more that way. There we go. Okay. And I have my wand for that beautiful element of air and to do some cleansing with to get started. Of course, we've got a candle. I always have a candle when I'm reading cards. Always. Try to anyway, or at least a representation of fire with me, because I feel that that is a key thing that my teacher really grilled into my head when I first started reading tarot. And then I have my athame here at the ready. Okay. So you can set your sacred space. You can do the full on ritual, calling the quarters and such. And of course, on the eve of the full moon, I hope you will do your best ritual, your favorite ritual, the way that you like to do it. Okay. So here we go. I'm just going to say, first start out with I relax. I make sure that my feet are flat on the floor. I've got my lap clear. There's nothing on my lap. And I sit quietly with my cards for a moment, preparing for my reading. And as I'm doing this, because I am a Reiki master, I like to do the Reiki energy. But you know what? Energy is energy. So my teacher taught me to flow my energy through the cards, which my energy comes from all around me. It is an unlimited source. It never drains me to run energy. And I relax, focus, breathe. I imagine those roots coming out of the bottoms of my feet, reaching deep down into the earth as far as they can go, wrapping around the core, drawing up that energy, and filling myself, my body, and this space with all that beautiful, beautiful energy of Mother Earth. And as I continue to breathe, I let that energy flow through me, paying attention to any areas that might have a little bit of tension so that I'm relaxing. Good. And then when I'm done, I take that one last nice deep breath. And as I inhale, releasing the excess energy back into the earth, I exhale, relaxing my entire body and ready for my reading. So I like to shuffle the cards, even though I've been putting all that energy into them. It's just a good idea. That way, the space that I'm in my head right now will help those cards to align. You do not have to read on top of a pentagram. As a matter of fact, I usually do not. But I felt it'd be nice to have that in our sacred space today. So I'm going to trust that intuition. Always trust your intuition. I shuffle it up a few times. I was already shuffling before we started. And I just make sure they're clean and clear. If you watch my video on how to take care of your tarot cards, one of the things you do is you cleanse them by shuffling before you put them away, and you cleanse them by shuffling as soon as you take them out. So the preliminary cleansing is already done. I have also used my little refreshing spray that I make, and some of you may have seen the video already on my Patreon. But just a simple little spray full of some good things. Some people use Van Vans, some people use their own blend. This is my own blend, and this one is specifically for summertime because we are in that season as we've had the solstice. So it's a solstice spray. And that is very cleansing for me. It's really nice to have the sprays when you're in a place where you can't have smoke. I love smoke, especially sage and properly sourced. And look at my video on that. Okay. And of course, essential oils that just remind me of summer. So let's go ahead and get started. After the cards are shuffled, and when I'm shuffling, I'm thinking of my intention. What is it that I want to manifest for this full moon? I probably set an intention back around the new moon, and I released any negativity. But that ground and center I did just releases any other negativity that may be around, as does the spray, just cleansing everything away, washing everything away. I now have a clean slate to start my tarot reading. So I think about this full moon is the buck full moon, the full buck moon, as they say. It's a super moon, and that means that it might appear larger than usual, like I said before. And it's associated with vitality, abundance, the divine, and of course, the divine masculine. And so those who are in love with the horned god, this is a good time to think happy thoughts in that direction. Very strong and very powerful. It was actually named the buck moon because that's when the antlers have fully grown in on the young bucks. And the bucks, of course, they shed their antlers every year. So their horns have grown in and they are ready for summer. So we're going to cut the cards one more time as the shuffling is complete. And I'm thinking only about that reading. Now, I'm not going to read the cards today. I'm going to talk about what each of the positions are. And I will put a little note in the description or in the comments below the video stating exactly, what each one was, just a review for you so you have one to hold on to. All right, so the first card, this is what brings me here. And what I mean by that is some would call this past, things that are starting to pass behind me this morning, yesterday, a few days ago, or if it was a major event, it may be any time within the last, few weeks since the full moon, or since the new moon. This is what is in the past. So this is what brings me here. And then I'll turn over this card. And this is where I am now. And that's so true. Said I wasn't going to read the cards. I'm busy getting all these videos out and making sure I'm having fun stuff for us to share and talk about. This is one of my favorite times because it's very, very creative time of the month when I'm getting ready for the following month. A lot of future work there. So my mind is very busy, very much working on that and eagerly looking forward. And then this is what comes or what is approaching. Okay. And so I would look at each card and say, this is what brought me here. This is where I am right now. And this is what comes or the future. And I would look at those three cards and then I would read it as if it were a sentence. So I don't know if this pertains to me or not, because I know when I set an intention to do a reading for a teaching purpose, sometimes it's good for other people. Sometimes it's just a teaching purpose. So don't weigh heavily on everything I say as this reading being for you, okay, or for me. I did see myself reflected in this one, so I recognize that. But in the past, the page of rods. Rods are wands in this deck. This is the Tarot of the Old Path, one of my favorites. And so here he is in the past, the messenger coming with message news about activities and plans. And then here I am in full throttle working on bringing those plans in, the Eight of Rods. I'm working on that manifestation of those plans. And then before me is illusion, also known as the moon. And illusion is oftentimes we can get caught up in the illusion of things. So as I'm working on my things right now, I try to see with full clarity. And I would say, all right, I will be aware of what's going on and be very clear. So I have received the message, the plans are in place, and I am being mindful of seeing that which I may not see very readily. And then the next three cards explain the first three. So what comes, a little bit about that message, is the Queen of Swords. I must be mindful to not fall into that negative tape that we sometimes play in our heads, and I must make sure that I don't fall into that. And I'll be honest, last night there was a little bit of that going on. Just reached a point where I was a little overwhelmed on something I was working on, and so I'm High Queen of Swords, but I'm not going to fall into that today. Moving beyond it. And that's the thing. We're never always perfect. Remember that. Moving beyond it, recognizing it. Oh, good. Because this Queen of Pentacles has some good things coming in my financial future, or our financial future, wherever else this is reaching out to, because it's just like I said, for teaching. So here we are. These plans are bringing this beautiful, beautiful Queen of Pentacles and all the abundance and prosperity. She's holding the sheaves of wheat in her hands. And did you know my wheat is starting to turn out front? I had some wheat sprout up this year, and it sprouted up in the herb garden. So it's a volunteer, and we're letting it grow as tall as it wants to. And yes, it's real wheat. It's not the wild wheat that grows around here. It's the domestic kind. So it's kind of cool. So there she is, the Queen of Pentacles, with this beautiful abundance and ready to manifest these plans and make sure that everything flows with the personal energy positively the way it should. For me, pentacles are money, business, or personal energy. And then what explains this illusion over here? What are some things, some more I need to know about it? And that is the Page of Cauldrons. And the Page of Cauldrons is also giving me a message that I must be mindful. They're both very watery, aren't they? That's interesting. But being very mindful of being fluid and paying attention to what I know and not falling into that, once again, into that illusion. So that's interesting. The page brings the message of clarity and being aware of what is going on with that. And then I like to draw one more card, and I like to put it right smack dab in the middle. And as you can see, I'm kind of making a moon here. I'm trying to get them all on the camera and all on the altar at the same time. So it's making that circle like the moon. So I'm going to fill my moon now with my last card. Oh, wow. I swear I didn't stack them. You saw me cut the cards. The High Priestess. So for this moon, I should do exactly what I know I should be doing on the full moon, and that is listening to my inner voice and manifesting my plans and desires and energy with that in mind. That I stand in the center as High Priestess. Wow, that's pretty cool. Didn't plan that. So I like that. I'm really happy with this. Okay. So what does this mean? Bringing it all together. This is the moon cycle. So yes, on the full moon, I should be doing my priesthood work, of course. But also what it's saying is that for this entire cycle of the buck moon, I shall remain in that space of the High Priestess and always come from that point of view of perfect love and perfect trust for those around me that are that I know and I care for. So perfect love and perfect trust, and a lot of following that inner voice and just being that priestess in that center, in that comfortable place of all things around me and flowing as they should be. Wow. Didn't mean to do a reading for me, but that's what came up today. And it may be for you too as well. I don't know. That may just be the energy of this moon. But the idea was just to give you an idea of what we are going to be, how we do the full moon reading. And so, as you know, it was 1, 2, 3. and then I go 4, 5, 6, and then the seventh card is right there in the center. Okay, so there's the reading. I will put the notes in the comment section or in the description so that you can copy down exactly what each one of those mean. So I hope this makes sense. Please let me know in the comments what you would like to see in these monthly videos, because I love making them. I just want to make sure I come up with something you're going to really enjoy. And like I said, I'll make a little thing to give to all of you so you'll know exactly what is there and how to read this reading. All right. So thank you so much for coming. Talk to you soon. Blessed be.